All right. Hello, folks. Welcome to Talking Crit with Bad Mike and myself, Eric Tenkar. We managed to actually snag two of the larger OSR podcasters in this community. Probably two that have been doing it longer than probably anybody else, at least consistently. Liz and Mike Stewart. Or DM Liz and DM Mike.
Welcome,
should I
DM. Welcome, good Mike and DM Liz.
Thank you, Bad
Good
Mike.
Good Mike.
He's my mirror universe. We're mirror universe Mikes.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can decide which one of us actually belongs in this universe, but the other one is
Yes.
definitely a mirror.
I don't know which one that would be. I mean,
Mm.
I know I've known you both for a number of years. I don't know. I've seen Bad Mike drink, so
I put on Satan's horns every year. How hard a decision could this be to make? Come on.
But you know what? I've seen what these two have bid on and won when Satan's been auctioning stuff off.
It's disturbing. It is disturbing.
Yes, because these are products that I probably wouldn't want to buy used. But yeah, I'm not going to go into details because.
Bad Mike's brother. All you have to say.
We have
Hello, Epi. Yeah, we're gonna have so much fun today because I have known Mike and Liz since the first North Texas. Although it seems like we talked on the internet before that, but they came to the first North Texas, and they lived close by. It turned out, so we've been chummy since then, which is great. And so yeah, we have all kinds of inside jokes that hopefully won't get too much into them because then nobody else will laugh and nobody else will laugh. But yes, they're two of my favorite people in the OSR, and they're like I don't know, they have like their thumbs in everything in the OSR because they do podcasting, they write games, they win awards, they travel to convention. I mean, they just do everything. So it's just so cool to have them both on here and be able to talk to them in a totally unscripted format because we had our usual 3 minutes of preparation.
No. We had a little bit over 5 because we started this late.
Oh, that's right.
So otherwise it would have been a normal 3 minutes. Let's make sure we hit that mark. But no, I'm learning that everybody starts their live streams late because you're just trying to leave the audience in suspense.
So for those who are interested, I invited my old granddad again tonight, and I am partaking of. Eric, what do you got going there?
I have a glass of red wine. It's a mixture of 2 reds from Italy that I've never heard of before, but it's in my
Heart healthy.
Yeah, heart healthy. It's my Game of Thrones glass from Omnigong. So it is a large wine glass because I want to make sure my blood sugar is good tonight. So I figured liquor it up.
Joe, the lawyer's joined us. Joe, no offense to you, but we classed up the joint since last week. We got some real guests on now, but no, seriously, thanks for showing up last week, Joe. No.
Great, now he's going to sue us.
He's dropping an F-bomb right now. He's the one dropping an F-bomb. So, well, before we get started, just a couple of quick things. So, Liz is very holiday attired here. Not the rest of us are, of course. Does anybody have
it for all of you?
So, does anybody have any plans for the holidays except staying at home? Because we're staying at home. Y'all are staying at home. Eric, you guys staying at home? You get your niece coming over? Or?
My niece and my sister, my brother-in-law are coming over because they're all. My niece and my sister were already COVID tested. So my niece was over for 2 days. She left today. She'll be back. No, we're going over there for Christmas Eve. We're all here Christmas Day, and I am cooking Christmas dinner. So that tells you we are in COVID world. Because normally I would cater, but since New York City locked down all restaurants, indoor and outdoor eatings, I have no place to cater my Christmas dinner from. So I will be making it.
I'm making lasagna. I've got my lasagna ingredients all ready to go. My mother usually makes a gigantic lasagna every year, but we're in separate spots now. My mom's in her late 70s, so we're all distancing somewhat. I think she's going to spend time with my brother Robert and his family. But yeah, so I'm gonna do the traditional Christmas lasagna this year. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't made it in a couple years, so I don't know. I don't know. It can't. How bad can it be? It's gonna be pasta and sauce and cheese. I mean, come on.
That's what you're saying, Mike. If you can screw it up, you will.
Yeah,
That's just
throw more cheese on it if you do. That'll
exactly.
When it comes down to you, if you put enough mozzarella on anything, it's probably going to be good.
And drink enough wine while you're cooking, and then no matter what,
or serve enough wine with the meal.
Exactly.
And, everybody will be happy.
Fellow Mississippi boy saying hi.
Oh, there you go. Oh, another cracker.
Hey.
By the way, so before we even get started, this is sadly I haven't got to see Liz and Mike all year, and my wife and I usually drop into Denton for a dinner or two during the year. We haven't been able to do it, but one of the things my wife and I enjoy so much is hearing Mike's end of the semester stories about his students. So, because for those that don't know, he teaches online college courses, and tell us a story. There's got to be a good story this semester. Make us laugh. It's Christmas. Tell us a good student story to get us rolling here tonight.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you got to have one.
No.
He's trying to choose which one is not going to get him in trouble.
They're always great.
That's the one. Which one can I tell you that won't be obvious enough that might get me fired?
Nobody watches this show. Nobody watches this. Come on. Yeah. Certainly none of your students watch this.
Oh.
They're all young and hip. They're doing something fun.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wait a second. Our professor's gonna be on YouTube? We got to see this.
I did have an essay where I asked a question to students in my 1301 history to basically explain the difference between the Enlightenment and the Great Awakening in colonial America. And they replied, because the Enlightenment was put forward to the pilgrims by Buddha, which was sweet.
That is... Oh my God! And I was a history major.
These are college students, right? We think
Yeah, well, being a college student doesn't mean as much as it used to.
My, yeah.
But I was a history major, not just because I loved history, but because you could do well enough in history so long as you could put your facts in the proper order. Maybe you didn't know the dates, but if you knew A, then B, then C, then D, that was 90% of your grade. But I don't think there were very many Buddhists in the.
I thought there were a lot of Buddhist temples in New England. I don't recall.
Not so you noticed, but yeah. I mean, I tell my students, having the date will always get you extra kudos, but I'm much more concerned with you getting everything in the right order.
Yep.
But yeah, that was special.
They just messed up their history class with their religion class. I mean, they thought they were taking another final and they screwed that one up. So
yeah,
they're probably studying so hard that they just got it mixed up.
Well, a few years ago, I actually had a guy come on and said that since none of us were actually alive in the past, none of us could really know what it was. So there's no point to history.
Did you just hang it up and just quit? Because I mean, he's right. I mean, what's the point of teaching history? There's no point.
I told him, look, my job is to teach you what's in that textbook. What you decide to believe is up to you. I don't care, but you're getting tested on what's in that book.
But it doesn't matter, man. It's all in the past. Don't you understand? It's all in the past.
It's already been done. I want to know what's going to be done.
Come on, man.
Yeah, man.
And the Earth's flat, dude.
Oh, man.
No, don't go there.
So real quick, we're gonna before we get getting into everything, our prelude's gonna be 20 minutes here. Mike and Liz, do y'all want to pimp your podcasts? I know you do. Maybe we should continue this later then. Okay.
Let's pimp them both.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not a single podcast. We got dos podcastos. I
Well,
don't speak Spanish, but
we have the Save for Half podcast, which we basically talk about old school games and the modern games inspired by them. So we'll review various games, some of them new, some of them not so new. It's me, Mike, DM Jim, and DM Corbett. And the four of us have a good time doing that. Mike and I are also fortunate enough to have been asked to be hosts on the Crusader podcast, which is a podcast about Trollord Games' Castles and Crusades. And there are other Siege Engine games as well. And we're there with DM Carl and DM Jesse. So,
And I was just with DM Carl. I just did a show with DM Carl a few weeks ago. Well, actually, more than a few weeks ago on Shane Stack's show. So, and we picked the Crusader there too. Yes.
well,
Yeah.
I
they're
mean,
very fine podcasts, and you should listen to both of them.
you should, because Mike knows a lot about the Siege Engine, being that he wrote a game using the Siege Engine. Correct, sir?
Correctamundo. And
I haven't listened. I have not listened to the Crusader podcast, but I have listened to Save for Half, and it is an excellent. I would recommend, especially when they do oddball games you may have seen in the store. Like I've seen Cyborg Commando, but I don't know much about Cyborg Commando. Well, I think y'all have done a show on Cyborg Commando, if I remember correctly. So yes, they have.
As everyone said.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go back and find that
Yeah,
one. 'Cause
so they've got some great shows, and they're always covering some great games. Some of this, like they said, some that you may not remember or may not have heard of that you're interested in, but they will give you the skinny on it. So
sometimes you have games that you want to forget, and Cyborg Commando is one of those games that you might want to forget. Just
Hey, it's got nothing on time ship.
Hey.
and we're just happy because these two are actual professionals. They did the Save or Die podcast. How many podcasts did y'all do? What was the final number of Save or Die? I know it was about 3 years, if I remember
Save or
correctly.
Die, we started at the beginning, but it pretty much I ran as lead host from 52 to I think 130.
Wow.
Damn.
That's amazing in today's world of podcasting to keep something going that long.
Oh,
Yeah.
especially a professional podcast, because Mike and I could do this for years, but we're not professionals. We don't edit. We don't do any sound leveling.
No, this is
That
the definition of
definition
seat
of
of
professional.
pants.
I thought you meant we were getting paid.
No.
God,
If getting paid made you professional, then I guess at one point I could consider myself professional because I was sponsored. But no. I mean, actually putting out a quality professional style podcast. You two have that in spades.
Well,
Yes.
I gotta say though, Mike and I do not know much of anything about the behind the scenes, putting it together, making it sound good. At first, DM Jim and DM Glenn did a lot of that for Save or Die, and then when we moved over to Save for Half, DM Corbett handles putting everything together and making it sound so good. So a lot of the heavy lifting has been done by those two. And if it was up to me and Mike, it would probably sound a lot worse.
Or it sounded like Eric and
Well,
I.
it's not like us. Yeah, it's like, oh, we fucked up, Mike. I don't know how to edit it out. Yeah, leave it in.
That's why
It'll be an Easter egg for people that listen. They'll be like, oh, look at that. And somebody dropped the glass. And here, Rachel in the background.
We've had
screaming.
police call. We've had police come by on
Yes.
my show and Eric's show.
Yeah.
we had
We
to go
had
and see what was
gunshots
going
on. We had gunshots
Yeah.
on my show. That was the fun part. Yes, we've had great times. But
So-
no,
Well, let's get into 20 minutes in. Let's get into our what we talk about, which is as we say, we're advertised. We're the hex crawl podcast. I got that out finally. So you don't never know where we're gonna go, but we're gonna start out.
We know where we're gonna
We
go
have
half the
no
time.
clue. We're going to start out with we have a resolution to the Weiss and Hickman lawsuit that was announced many weeks ago.
Yep.
Eric, you want to cover that a little bit or go into that?
Well, the chart, they filed, and then basically they withdrew what they filed. It was dismissed without prejudice, which means pretty much. And are we kind of inferring or guessing here? Yes, but it means that some kind of resolution happened between the two parties, which is the Coast and Weiss and Hickman, where Weiss and Hickman decided they did not need to proceed with their lawsuit currently. They've reserved the right to refile. And then afterwards, if I still have it open, yes, Margaret Weiss sent out a twit or a Twitter. Is it a twit?
It's a tweet.
Oh God! All right, so I really screwed that one up. I don't know my Twitter very much, but I know some of you have seen that our lawsuit against Wizards of the Coast was dismissed. I can't say anything yet, but watch for exciting news in the weeks to come. And thank you so much for your support. So, what does that kind of hint at? Maybe.
I have a couple of theories, although, and as Eric said, we are absolutely spitballing here. Do not take anything here as we have any inside connections at all. We don't. But so number one, it could mean that they cut it. Well, so that they're happy. So that they something happened good. First of all, we thought what would happen was they would get a check cut, but that sounds more like than just getting a check cut. If you want to pay attention to things coming in the future. So one, the books they already wrote, WotC said, look, we're not going to publish them, but you can publish them. You can have, since you wrote them, we'll figure out something where you can actually, get your books, because by not publishing them, they were not going to be published. If WotC owns the rights to them, WotC bought them, paid for them. If WotC wanted, they could just bury them. They never had to be published. Number two, there could be something of an announcement having to do with Dragonlance for 5th edition, is something we've been seen hinted in the media for a while. Joe Manganiello had a very cryptic tweet this week having to do with the fact that he was playing 5th edition Dragonlance, and he kind of gave a little wink wink. So whatever that may be. They basically, they either got control of something, they were given something, or they're being allowed to do something else. I think it's something that already existed. I just think whatever the contract was they were in was something that the WotC didn't want to hold on to, and this is their way of, yeah, you're not under contract anymore, so we're gonna toss you this. But they didn't come out bad. They got paid for their books. They worked on the other books for a couple of years, but they didn't come out bad here. It didn't sound like that this was a really long drawn out process. Probably a couple of phone calls between lawyers and somebody from WotC talking to Weiss and Hickman, and it sounds like everything was solved pretty quickly.
Well, it also sounds like Wizards of the Coast didn't think that anybody was actually going to push back on this. But we're just not going to approve anything. I don't know if the two of you follow that at all, but it was literally Wizards of the Coast saying, we're not saying that we're breaking the contract. We're just not going to approve any revisions. So it's just not going to go anywhere. But we're not breaking the contract. So you have
well, they already written. The first book was already finished. Second book was drafted, and I guess the third book probably was drafted too. And when they just dropped the boom on them and said, "Well, we don't really want these anymore," and they said it in a way that lawyer weasel words. Oh, yes. We're not going to cancel the contract with you, but we're just not going to approve anything that you send to us. So you could keep sending us drafts all day long. We're just not going to approve.
Right. We're not going to approve anything, but
we're not breaking the contract. We're just not going to ever give you any kind of relief. And so that's why they sued. And I know this sounds to me like they got something. I'm interested to see what it is. I don't know. And there's been a lot of it doesn't make any sense. There's not a 5th edition Dragonlance. It just seems like there's a giant pile of money there waiting. And even a company that makes giant piles of money already, like Hasbro, they can't turn down more giant piles of money, can they? That's exactly what that would do.
I don't know if it's piles of money. We're all old school gamers here. We all have our favorite old school settings. I love Spelljammer. I don't think it ever got the attention it deserved. And Planescape. Although Planescape made my head hurt a lot of times trying to figure out the language, but I know I can see Mike making a face at me by talking about Planescape.
No, Spelljammer.
I do like
that other Mike. I'm sorry.
Spelljammer.
I'm gonna get confused all night because there's too many mics.
All right, I'm sorry. I think be Bad Mike and Good Mike. Is that how I'm going to have to do this?
Yeah, I think that'll have to be
okay. Bad Mike, Good Mike.
So I don't know. Had you two heard anything about the Weiss Hickman lawsuit at all, or just what you'd read?
I've been peripherally following it, but I hadn't been closely following it. It does sound like they're going to be allowed to do something from the sound of Margaret Weiss's little cryptic message. If we're supposed to be, waiting for further news, something's going to drop. Hey, we're getting to do this. So,
yeah. Now, again, like Mike said, spitballing because we have anybody that we might know that might peripherally have inside information has not talked to either of us. So we're just spitballing, and I'm going to really spitball. This is probably less likely than a change in the electoral process for the current election cycle. All right, and that tells you a lot right there. But we've had, in addition to this being in the news, we've had the D&D movie in the news. This generation's Captain Kirk has been slated to play like the lead role. He's the first signed actor, and I wouldn't necessarily call him an A actor, but he's like an A-. He'll be a Wonder Woman in 1984, which releases Christmas Day on in movie theaters, but mostly on HBO on demand. But it could be that maybe the new movie is going to be using the Dragonlance franchise, and maybe it will be a 5th edition of the game. Maybe there's a huge tie-in going on, and that's the reason why Wizards of the Coast was trying to get out of this contract, and maybe they found a way to resolve it to satisfaction of both parties. I don't know. I just think the timing is interesting with what's going on otherwise with Wizards of the Coast. But again, I don't know. I've been accused in the past of drawing improper conclusions based on insufficient information by somebody who was cribbing trademarks, but I'm not going to mention names.
Well, that's all. I mean, that's all we do is spitball. But this is. I thought that was an interesting turn because I'll honest with you. I thought this would take a lot longer to resolve because usually this is the kind of thing, especially around the holidays. I mean, come on, lawyers aren't working around the holidays. And I'm surprised this guy does. This sounds to me like there was just a couple of phone calls made and like, look, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what you're gonna get. Is this satisfactory? And they're like, yeah, that sounds great.
John wants to know if Hasbro's decided they don't want to publish too many different campaign settings. Because that's what happened with TSR. I you know what? They've been very slow at putting out campaign settings, and they're not putting out new ones. They're putting out ones that their fans, their customer base has demanded or at least been vocal about. Although we have to admit that this is the internet, and vocal fan bases don't always convert to, money. But
I think they've learned the lessons of the '90s, and because the '90s, you all you did was fragment. You had Ravenloft, Spelljammer, Birthright, Planescape, Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, Mistar. I mean, you had so many different directions, and all they did was just kept fragmenting the fan base over it, and they learned their lesson from that. That's why they don't really push settings anymore, and they haven't really since 3rd edition. No. Really, they haven't been pushing settings at all.
Forgotten Realms is like the default, and they're very slow to venture beyond that. Thus, Hasbro's involvement in the production of the new D&D movie decisively put to rest speculation that they might be getting ready to sell Wizards of the Coast. I don't know if that puts to rest it. That didn't sound right. But
actually improve their value.
Yeah.
I never thought they were going to sell. I never saw any speculation on that. It seemed like it was based on anything in reality.
No. We saw speculation. Now you had to define it as not based in reality. We saw it. We did see it published on a fairly, I don't know, dare I say, influential news site for gaming, who spitballed that one. I don't know. I mean, look at Disney right now, who is claiming that when they bought the rights to Star Wars, that they didn't actually incur the liabilities of paying people like Alan Dean Foster their royalties going forward. I mean,
reminds me of what TSR did about SPI back in '82.
There you go. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, we bought all the property, but we don't have any of the liabilities.
which it's interesting, and Mike, you can probably talk about that a lot more than any of us can, but that was pretty much like a hostile takeover. They
essentially. Depending on who you talk to, whether or not whether TSR called the note in too quickly than SPI had planned because they were hoping to have more time to build up some more income in order to pay TSR back. The way the SPI folks try to make it sound, that TSR just yanked the note almost as soon as they could in order to leave SPI, more or less just assets to be taken over. TSR, of course, feels differently, at least the people who were there at the time. And, SPI was going in the tank, so I'm not really sure what they could have done in 6 months to suddenly turn things around, but I don't know, anything beyond that.
There was a lot. There's some people have said there's a lot of stick it to you intuitiveness in that deal because there was a bit of a history between Gary and SPI going back into the 70s, and it wouldn't been out of character for him to just wanted to stick it to SPI because
it was a really small hobby even back then. So they all knew each other.
Yeah, for some there's a lot of reasons, speculation why there was that. I mean, some people say I don't know. Some people say that Gary pitched D&D to SPI and they laughed at him and said, "No, it's garbage. We do war games. We don't do that." But I mean, I've never seen definitive about why Gary had it out for SPI so much, or may have had it out for them. But yeah, that was the sad thing about it was they got all SPI's assets and really did nothing with them. They republished a few games, a few of the box
some of the more popular ones. Yeah.
But other than that, they really didn't do a lot with the assets, which is too bad.
They tried to keep that strategy and tactics going as a magazine.
Yes.
They pissed off all the subscribers by saying, "Oh, well, you subscribed. Well, no, you didn't. You had to pay
too bad."
Right. Like again, we have the assets, but not the liabilities, and that is, And listen, when you're a company the size of, I guess, TSR at the time, I can understand why you're penny pinching. When you are Disney, and you're screwing Alan Dean Foster out of maybe $50,000. Do you really need that kind of negative attention?
Especially since that's just the sort of thing that can turn the fan base against you, and that is so not worth the $50,000 or whatever.
No. And go ahead, Mike.
No, to say that is something that a lot of the bean counters don't think about. I think that is part of what may have had to do with this whole Dragonlance situation. I wonder if people working there at Hasbro had any idea how beloved Margaret and Tracy are in the community, and I think that was a big factor in that. People were just like, wait a second, these are Dragonlance grandpa and grandma here, or mommy and daddy. We can't, don't be mean to them. Why are you being mean to them? And it kind of blew up. I'd say it blew up a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much play this got in the wider thing. I mean, we're in the hobby, so we know this stuff happened, but I don't know how much wider play any of this got. I mean, I did see some national publications run the story, so I mean, it wasn't like it was a just a total niche thing. But I don't know if it had a lot of effect or not. But I mean,
bringing that back around, by the way.
Yep.
Mike is talented. You wouldn't believe the talent he has.
Well done.
I learned from the best. These two below me.
I was about to say, I know it's not for me. So
by the way, I just remember. So this is a testament to how terrible our production meetings are. I just remember what the next subject we were going to talk about that we forgot to talk about, and that is, and we can bring Mike and Liz probably have some really interesting opinions on that. Gen Con has said they are going to have in-person gaming this year.
Oh yeah,
and they're going ahead with for right now, the story was they are planning on having Gen Con this year, which is it's not till August, but still that's
cutting it close.
Cutting it real close,
Well,
especially if you plan on having anywhere close. Well, I would. They had 65,000 people last year. Certainly.
So even if they have half, you're looking at like close to 40,
yep.
35, 40.
Are we ready for big conventions in person yet? I mean, even with, let's say 50% of the people have the vaccine by then. Let's say it's even more. Let's say it's 80%. Are we still ready? Has the landscape changed so much in the last year that people are going to be squeamish whether they have the vaccine or not?
Yeah, I mean, this is from their press release. Our goal for the new year is to hold Gen Con 2021 as planned, in person in Indianapolis from August 5th through the 8th. We're working towards that objective with health and safety as our top priority. A variety of factors need to come together for a physical convention to be feasible, and we're carefully monitoring local and national safety and travel guidelines, health data, resource availability, and the advice of our finest sages, scientists, and sorcerers. Medical professionals might be interested in throwing to that, but we'll not.
It sounds non-committal. It sounds like they're saying we're definitely 100% going to have 80 million people there.
Right. Well, in consideration of uncertainty, we're postponing badge registration and event submission until we have a better idea of what the year will hold. Yeah. We'll announce new dates. I guess they're referring to like when we're taking registration and event submission as soon as we can, and you should expect more updates from us in the next couple of months. Now, when they announced this, I guess over the weekend, the Gen Con site had a big graphic countdown to Gen Con, 229 days. Now, and since Bad Mike, since you are the closest thing we have to a convention specialist here, North Texas 2021. When do you guys start? You and Doug start planning that out?
Well, we're a small convention because we cap at 500 most years, and we start planning really the year before. I mean, you kind of have to do that. I mean, not talking hardcore, but we start talking about like, okay, who do you think would be a guest? I mean, we've this year is one of the latest years we've gotten started. I just saw Doug today, and we were talking about how well, are we going to have any special guests? Because let's face it, if the vaccine's is going to be given to the most vulnerable members of our community first, 95% of our guest list that's it. I mean, because you're talking 60 or older people with health problems. So you conservatively, you'd say most of the people we'd have as special guests will probably have the vaccine by June. So even so, we've only had two special guests say yes so far. But normally at this point we've got all our special guests down. I mean, so I'm interested. Man, that's just a lot for Gen Con to put together because there's been no mention of special guests. Nope. They're usually pretty deep in it. By this time this year, they're pretty deep into it. They usually have all their hotels lined up.
I think by this time, all the hotels are sold out.
I mean, so this is lets me to believe they're not expecting a full docket of either games or people, even if they have the con. It's going to be probably, honestly, if you want to, this might be Perk says not going to happen. This is probably a great year to go because I wonder if the last year I went was 2008 or 9. It was 30,000 people. This may be a return to the good old days when you could actually walk around without being crushed to death. It might be a great year to actually go to Gen Con if they had it in person. It just seems like they're leaving their options open, but man, a big con like that is tough not to have things planned out by now. It really is because there is a lot of planning just in a 500 person convention. For a 50,000 person convention, there's more planning than I can even imagine.
Oh, that's why I was like, how feasible does this thing even sound? And even PAX is expecting to.
Yep, PAX. They're not going to have PAX South this year, which is, by the way, is the last convention I went to for COVID. I went to PAX South last January. But yeah, they're going to have PAX East, West, and North or whatever. So we'll see. or they say they are too.
Right, and that's the game plan. And I mean, I understand it as a consumer of conventions that if you're going to survive as a convention, it's the in-person conventions that are going to let you survive. Gen Con is not like North Texas, which is happy to break even, and Doug does it for the love of it. And I understand that. Once you start hitting like Gary Con and numbers, there's a profit to be made, and there's money to be lost.
Gen Con is absolutely a business. They have stockholders that are shareholders. They employ thousands of people. I mean, that is an absolute business, and that's tough. To ask them to miss 2 years in a row is they're not going to let that happen if they can't, because that is a lot of lost revenue on their part. And not just that, but the city of Indianapolis has lost a ton of revenue. That is the number one moneymaker in their city every year is Gen Con, even more than any Colts games, home football games, anything. That the number one moneymaker is Gen Con. So yeah, that's asking a lot from the city for everybody. So if they're able to, they're going to try to put this on. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to try. I really firmly believe they're going to do everything possible to try to get people in that building next August.
I mean, sorry, good Mike and Liz. I mean, convention-wise, I mean, for me, my conventions are limited to like the Frog God tour circuit. But what conventions do you two normally go to besides North Texas?
Besides North Texas?
Yes.
I don't know.
Normally we go to the Tyler Comic Con.
Oh, Tyler, yeah, Rose City. Go see Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard of that.
FenCon.
Yeah, I hope that Carl and Courtney will be able to do the Arkansas RPG Con again in 2021. That's a nice small convention, and I'd feel very comfortable going to it. And normally it's around, August or whenever. So
right.
Nicely late in the year. Yeah, I don't know that I would be comfortable going to a really large convention at all, even with the vaccine coming out in 2021. Although to be fair, we're almost never invited to really large conventions anyway, so that's not exactly a problem for us.
You have to invite yourselves to those conventions.
We went to Gary Con, and while we had a great time, it was just like, okay, any more people than this, and no.
And it's super expensive for us to go, which is why we tend to go just in Texas and also Arkansas, because that's drivable and we can do it. But the conventions that are farther away and bigger, we're almost never able to afford to go on our own. So
and that's something that isn't always discussed, but yet conventions are expensive.
Oh gosh.
And this year 2020, I think a lot of people have and it's certainly probably not, I'm not going to include myself in it because I like going to physical conventions, because I go to conventions not to game, but I go to conventions to socialize. What a big fucking surprise. But the people that go to conventions to game are probably getting a lot of that fill going to those virtual conventions that have been taking their place. And the monetary cost is greatly reduced. I'm wondering if even when people can travel again, if some of these larger conventions that rely upon foot traffic because of gamers actually physical, not LARPers and not the socializers and not the shoppers, but the actual gamers are going to lose some of that traffic to virtual cons and VTTs.
They'll lose some, but let me tell you, people are absolutely jonesing to get the hell out of the house.
Oh God,
and to go to conventions. I cannot tell you, we don't have one day we don't have an inquiry about North Texas. Like you guys are really, you're going to have this year, right? Because I mean, I've got to go to a convention. I got to get out of here. I got to do that, you know, and I'll have the vaccine by then. I'll get vaccinated like in January. I just got to go to your. I mean, people are jonesing to get out.
What are they going to do? Hijack a vaccine shipment? I mean,
I guess if you're, well, let's put this. The sad truth is most gamers are probably high risk category. We're probably at the front. I looked the other day and I'm like way at the front of the line. I'm like, oh, okay, over 55, diabetes, hypertension. Oh yeah, look here, I'm right way up here. I get the vaccine really quick. Look how unhealthy I am. Man, maybe if I become an alcoholic too, I get it even faster. So no, but yeah, so people, it's as soon as the word is given. I mean, yeah, everybody likes virtual cons, but I predicted this at the beginning of the year. People are about sick and tired of virtual cons, and I will not name his name, but somebody I know that's heavy into the con circuit has said that if he has to do a virtual con next year, he will not have his con because he's tired of virtual cons. And I mean, I can understand it. Like this, you and I talk about all the time, Eric, and Mike and Liz know this too. I mean, most of the part of loving to go to a con is meeting people and socializing in the bar and having dinner and all that stuff. And yeah, it's fun to do virtual cons. You get to play games, but we play games all the time anyway. So, you know,
it's like our group, you know, we've been meeting virtually pretty much from the beginning of COVID, and we use Zoom or a Zoom type program, and it beats no gaming at all.
Yeah.
Right.
But on balance, I'd still rather just have people around a table.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a local group since I was playing with Tim Conley when he was out in Long Island, and the local group we had there at the game store. And I've had online groups using Roll20 and Google Hangouts that played with the interaction that you would expect from an actual face-to-face group. But I think for convention-style games with random pickup of players, you're better off in a physical space. Because, I mean, Mike, I've experienced you as a DM, and you are a very skilled DM because you engage your players. But you're gonna. I find it's easier to engage my players when I can do the hand motions that my listeners won't be able to see. But in stand up, like when I GM, I don't sit down. I stand up the whole time. But when you're GMing for strangers on a VTT, the amount of energy that you have to exude to get through that computer screen and keep them all focused, I'd have to be a crack addict to keep that level of energy up, and I don't have it. By the way, Jonathan Perkle says butt cracks are a big risk factor at conventions.
Always are. They're going to be forever. So
no. Topless James Spawn is the risk factor that's the risk.
It's unspeakable risk factor, but
and you can suffer that through the computer too. So I mean, I don't think that physical space denies you of that.
Speaking of James Spawn, he made a comment this week that he had to defriend about 400 people this week because of them saying bad things about Star Wars. I said, you don't have 400 friends. What are you talking about?
Well, he kept rejecting them over and over again.
I said, you can't count B. Arthur 399 times and say that's 400 friends. Going back to our B. Author. As for you and I, for those who don't know, James and I have a B. Author fetish, and so I've have my little Funko B. Arthur doll, so I don't apologize for anything.
This explains so much.
James said that to me because he knows me. It does. Yeah. Mob was one sexy broad in the 70s. I'm sorry. Say whatever you want.
Wow.
Those caftans. Oh my!
And those golden girls. Hey, you know what?
Send it to your brother, but
I'm not going to turn down a weekend with the Golden Girls. Let me just tell you right now. So.
I am going to definitely turn that down.
Worst fanfic ever.
Not
Bad Mike / Golden Girl.
there we go.
Betty White would be so kick-ass to hang out with.
B. Arthur, I think B. Arthur would have been a hoot from what I hear, but no, this goes back to my giving James hard time over the very classic Star Wars holiday special where B. Arthur has a song she sings, and so if you ever see us on Facebook battling, we're always putting links to that song up for each other and exclaiming how the other one loves it so much. So yes, that was, you mentioned James Bond. I was contractually obligated to also mention our B. Arthur fetish at the same time. So
yeah, Dandelion game. Somebody was just talking to him
look
about
at the golden. Okay, I'm interested. I'm in.
I'm ready to walk away. You know.
Yeah, he did. He had Dallas in Space. If he did Dallas in Space, he might do a Golden Girls. Why are we pitching poor Michael Curtis to only do mashups of old TV shows with D&D or RPG games?
He's just good at it.
Yeah. I was supposed to experience that my first North Texas, but that was a Saturday night game, and by the time we all got to the game, everybody was like, "Do you have the energy, or do you want to go to the bar?" I'm like, "Bar time, let's go."
Game, drink.
Yeah.
Saturday night.
Are they mutually exclusive though?
Well, probably not, and if you plan it right. But we didn't really plan it right. And that was my first gaming convention since Gen Con in '94. And this was North Texas in 2013, 2014.
Not that long ago. Certainly not that long.
Yeah.
Maybe, Oh, it was at the old place. Yeah, it was at the old.
Yeah, it was at the old place. And I did with the same mistake I made at Gen Con, which was filled up my whole schedule with shit to do. And then you realize at the end of it.
Yeah, rookie mistake, man.
Yeah. And especially when I had local friends that lived in the Dallas area who came down to the hotel to meet us for lunch. It's like, Rach, we're gonna have to ditch a game. I feel bad because we're ditching 2 players out of the game. But I think we got it. And in any case, the con did well because my one friend snuck into the dealer's corner, which had the Castles of Crusade stuff, and left with like $200 on books. I go, what do you? I go, how much did you buy? He goes, well, that guy, and you'll appreciate this, Mike and Liz. That guy with the really long hair and looked like Santa on crack. You know, Santa, like what? It's like a crack addict Santa without the drugs. I'm like, yeah, I know you're talking about. Who could that be? He just started talking to me and filling my arms up, and the next thing I know, I was buying like $215 in game books.
Oh, Tyler, I love
for CNC is probably almost everything.
Good old
at least at that time.
It probably was, yeah.
Sadly, Tyler shaved his beard and hair since then. And sadly enough,
I know.
He's trying to look like a regular person. It's weird. It's wrong. It's wrong, is what it is.
Well, my friend felt bad. I feel like I snuck into the con. I go, you just spent $215. You didn't sneak in. You bought a crap ton of stuff.
You did.
And in 10 minutes and left. I go, I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Although I do want his name and address. When he owes me $35. No, more than $35. Well, added to our convention, I think Spiel or Essen in Germany, which is I believe is the world's largest convention, is also planning on face-to-face too. Which that's a little tougher because Germany's in severe lockdown mode right now, or actually most of Europe's in lockdown right now. I know UK is definitely.
Well, UK is locked down and locked out.
But these are, like I said, these conventions are big business. This is like a whole industry shutting down, and I don't think a lot of them can survive being shut down 2 years in a row. I'm really, it's I tell you who's really suffered the most. It's just because of timing is GaryCon, because GaryCon last year happened at the very beginning of when this started, and they were probably the first major convention to call it off, and they're not going to be ready this year because most of the vaccines aren't going out till January, February, March. So they did the right thing, which is call it off early. So they are going to miss 2 years of live in gaming. That's tough to come back on. But a convention that can do that is GaryCon, because GaryCon has a built-in audience. And they have a very loyal built-in audience that will that will follow them anywhere. So.
And maybe my next GaryCon, it won't be bursting to the point that the New Yorker feels claustrophobic. It's like I'd rather be on a rush hour subway train than have to try to get food at GaryCon.
Well, Liz and Mike, you were there. You didn't go last year. You went 2018, I believe, and you didn't go 2019. Eric and I were there last year, and as full as it was the year y'all went, it was even more packed last year.
Oh, God.
And I mean, we're just talking absolutely bursting at the seams, and we were mentioning like, gosh, this is too crowded for this center. It was uncomfortable.
I mean, anyone who's listened to us talk about our time at GaryCon, has probably already heard me say this, but we went, it was so crowded, and there were so many people that we knew for a fact were at that convention, but we were never able to find them and, say hi to them. There was so much of a crush.
And it's crazy because it's really just a big hotel. It's not even really a convention center. Yeah. So to not see somebody means it's really crowded. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, yes, it is stretched out across it's really long. It's a long convention. It's really weird. It's not a.
Now, to be fair, we had a great time.
Oh yeah,
just to be clear, but yeah, it just lots of people. Mm-hmm. And having to hike 10 minutes to get from our room to where everything was going.
You were as far as any human could be in being in the same building. As it was literally like you were here and it was there. I mean, you had to walk that far.
Yeah. We walked through like 3 levels of dungeon before we were able to get to the elevators to go up into the rest of the hotel itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's the year that Rich and I missed the first day. We didn't get out there the first day because we were snowed out here in New York. And then when we got out there, our hotel room was upgraded miraculously to one of the villas, which was great, except for the fact that you could never find the trolley. So, and of course, I always underdress to GaryCon because I don't want to wear a lot of heavy clothing. So a thermal shirt and a fleece jacket when it's single digits outside at 8 o'clock in the morning, fucking sucks.
Was that the year it snowed really bad too? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because last year it was fine. It didn't snow, but that year it was pretty bad. Yeah, that was so. GaryCon's going to be able to overcome this because they have an extremely low audience. I know it's not what Luke wanted to do, but they're going to do it. But these bigger conventions like Gen Con and Origins and Spiel, they really can't afford them. Dragon Con, they're going to do whatever they can to get something going this year because this is, I mean, really, it's thousands of people's jobs. This is something they do all year round. Yes, the convention is only for 1 week a year, but it's literally something these big conventions work on all year round, and they employ thousands of people. And so it's a big business, and they're going to try to run it if they can. I mean, they're not making money not running these cons. I mean, yes, online helps somewhat, but it's just not the same thing. And not to mention all the dealers that usually go to these cons that have been sitting on stock for the past year because they can't sell anywhere except online.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I mean, the online cons do one thing. It helps keep the community together as opposed to maybe fragmenting of a year away. But Mike, as we've discussed, for TotalCon, which again is going to go virtual this year. It was the last physical con I went to last year. Mike and I are going to be doing Talking Crit 4 nights in a row to kind of give some semblance of what we go to cons for, which is to socialize. And we'll bring in special guests each night, and maybe you get to hear some, luminary from the TSR era talk about their roommate or some some other stories we probably shouldn't be hearing about, but that's
It's a way to it's definitely on for TotalCon. We still need to hear from Luke and see if we can do the same thing for GaryCon. But yeah, we're definitely doing a whole week of TotalCon, which will be super fun. We're going to have people that are normally guests there, and so yes, it's not the same thing as meeting him in a bar and getting to hear about how Alan Hammock dated Darlene. And I'm just like, whoa, hold on, because Mike and Liz haven't heard that story. That was last year, GaryCon, when I was in the bar the last night, and Darlene was there, and Alan Hammock, and actually Darlene's sister was there, and a few other people that worked for TSR. And Darlene says, I'm like, oh yeah, Alan, that's the year you and I dated. And I was like, whoa, back it up.
What?
Alan Hammock and Darlene, you dated? Okay, I never heard this story. Let's have some details. And so I got to hear the skinny from Darlene as Alan looked embarrassed in the back there.
Oh, I can just see Alan.
It's because Darlene was like, just dated too, Mike. Dated. That's all. Dated. I'm like, oh, hold on. I didn't say anything. So
what did dating mean back in the day?
What is it? Oh, yeah, because she could see the hamster running around her head. And she was putting a stop to that right away. Like, no.
That's why you're a bad Mike.
Really, Bad Mike? She was assuming that you had a dirty mind or something? No way.
I don't know.
Not the devil himself.
Look, for those of you who know Darlene she's a sweetheart, but she's got a little devil in her. Okay, I'm telling you, seriously, she was a wild child in the 80s.
You can tell the twinkle in her eyes.
Oh, she's got a twinkle, all right.
Yes, you can see the mischievous going on there. The mischievous.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff you miss by not going to cons or like seeing Mike and Liz or just all these people you see that you're just like, oh my gosh, the first time I saw you was on. The first time I've seen these two online this year was online because just a ridiculous year. So yeah, we're going to try to bring a little bit of that back. But I don't be surprised when things start coming back. If they maybe even come back too quickly. And they've already warned against that. Said, look, you can't get the first vaccination and just run out and party for a week because you got to have another one, and you still got to have 14 days and this and that. So, but we're hoping at least by June, North Texas, that we'll have most of the people that we consider that are considered high risk will be vaccinated. And if nothing else, we'll do what we did last year, which is obviously wearing masks, social distancing, sanitation stations or whatever, sanitary stations. And we should be able to put on a little bigger con than last year, where we're already thinking, especially if people feel a little safer about going out because they've either had COVID or actually having it's not good enough. You probably still need the vaccination even if you have the antibodies, because there's so many different strains of it. So we feel pretty confident about being able to put something on next year that's a little bigger. If we just get a hold of the hotel, because inside story, we can't get a hold of the hotel because last year we found out they fired all their convention staff, or they laid them off because there was no conventions. Well, apparently they haven't rehired them yet because we're still waiting on a phone call to have a link for the hotel room, and we haven't got the phone call yet. So we think the manager's probably trying to do all the work of the convention staff again, like last year. So hopefully we'll have that up soon. We'll be able to get hotel rooms, but so let me put it this way. So I know you said that the cost of consideration, Mike and Liz. So let's say that I told you, okay, you've won a prize. You get a free all expense paid trip to Gen Con. Do you take it? You don't have to pay for your hotel room, and to get into Gen Con's free.
Next year.
No, 2021. Would you go to it?
Probably not.
So cost is not an issue, but you still would not feel safe about going in terms of giant crowds of people. Here's
a little secret. It's the crowds more than the worry about COVID, to be honest, for me. Mm-hmm. It's 35,000. That's still bigger than my hometown growing up in Mississippi.
Yeah, so, I can see. So that's.
I might go to Origins again one day. I haven't been able to convince Liz to go to Origins yet, but which is weird because we got a friend who lives in Indianapolis, owns a house, says we can crash there. He'll go with us. He'll even use his car and pay the tech, everything if we just go. And too big.
I can guarantee that was going to happen.
The hell is that?
And I can guarantee you it's going to be a callback. My son.
Okay, so Eric, same thing. So you get an all expense paid trip for you and Rach to Gen Con this year. No, you have to pay for hotel room. Don't have to pay for travel expenses. Don't have to pay to get in. What do you think,
Mike? Not for nothing. I wouldn't go to Gen Con on a normal year.
You would go anyway. Okay.
I'm not wasting my fucking time going on the year of COVID. Okay, even if you gave me the boy in a plastic bubble outfit, the congestive heart failure survivor,
the habit trail ball.
Yeah, the habit trail ball.
There's a bunch of balls bouncing around.
If I had to have a great idea. Ball, I might go because then I know I get through crowds because people would see me coming and they'd be like, "Oh, fuck, get away!"
What's wrong with this dude?
Yeah, right. And he doesn't even look like John Travolta from but. God, I'm really digging.
That's a callback. You're old.
Yeah,
well, I'm going to go against form here because I'm going to tell you, if you could promise me there would only be half as many people as last year, so let's say 30,000 people, which is the same as last year I went, and you gave me a full expense paid trip, I would probably go this year because I don't think you're going to ever see less than 60,000 ever again. I think this year you will. I think this year will probably be one of the lowest attendances they've been in Indianapolis because I just think people are like, they just don't want to be mixed up in that yet, at least until they had at least a year for everybody to have the vaccine. But I think I would do it. I think I would do that if you could assure me there was only going to be 30,000 people there because it was a fun con before it got gigantic. It really was fun to go.
I had a great time when I went back in the 90s. Don't get me wrong. I did. But I'd much rather go to, one North Texas over 3 Gen Cons. This is coming from a man who, worked in Manhattan in one position or another with the NYPD from 2002 to 2016. I don't ever want to have to deal with crowds willingly. When I left retail after working in a department store for 8.5 years, I swore on oath that I would never shop in the month of December between Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, because all the fucking returns after Christmas. I would never walk into a department store or a Kmart or a Walmart within that period. And you know what?
They'll cut you.
Yeah, they will.
They'll cut you bad.
I've actually gone to Walmart in the Poconos on Black Friday, but I went there at 2:30 in the afternoon. Once everything had been grabbed, and I went there for the dollar movies that nobody gave a shit about. But I'm not dealing with those crowds, man. I'm not, man. I can't. Even armed, I'm not doing it. I just I don't have it in me.
Liz is even more introverted than I am, so no need to even ask her.
Well, I will say, you gave me an all-expense paid trip to Gary Con. The next time it's a physical convention, I go.
Wait, are you fishing for something here? Hold on. I'm on the hook for something I didn't know about. I gotta pay for Mike and Liz to go to Gary Con. Damn it! I didn't volunteer for that.
Totally fishing.
I didn't know you were giving one of those trips away, Mike.
I didn't think I was either, but apparently I am.
This is an awesome OSR Christmas. My God,
sponsoring podcasters to go to conventions now without even knowing about it.
We just have to ride in a van with him for 14 hours.
No problem. Yeah,
I've driven in a van with him and Zach for an hour and a half. And I'm like, I can only imagine how this turns out.
We do 8 hours both. We do 8 hours, 2 days both ways. It's awesome, man.
1:30 in the morning,
Stuff we talk about, we can never be made public. Otherwise, we'd both be fired from the industry. We both would be out of the industry forever. And probably out of humanity. If we probably be put on an island with no way off. You deserve this. We heard you talking about that car.
You've been voted off the mainland. Now you go to the island.
Exactly.
Gotta go to Gitmo. Yeah.
You can't handle this. You can't handle the truth.
Yep.
God.
All right. So what else do we have this week? So cons may come back.
Man, I don't know.
Weiss and Hickman got a payday. What else? What else did we have?
I don't know.
I got a little something to throw out there. So a friend of mine, old friend of mine, had a auction on just throwing this out there because we like to talk about games and stuff too, not just current events. But a friend of mine had a auction. One of the biggest collectors in the world, actually, huge collector, and put up about 50 or 60 or 100 items or so, and made a cool 50 grand on eBay if you kept up with his auctions.
Made half it on the first 2 items, I think.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, this is I'm going to pull up some price here while Eric vamps a second.
He the number one item was the wood grain box.
Wood grain box for 14,000. Was it 14,000? Oh, I got to pull this up. I can't spitball on this. This is too good.
Oh, God damn it, Mike. Spitball.
Spitball.
$1 million.
It was about that crazy, Liz. Seriously. I knew that prices have gone up somewhat, but it's I think it says a lot of good things for the hobby that
it does.
That this is
so brought people into the hobby with 5th edition that are collectors now. And that they have the money to drop. I mean, gone are the days where you're gonna get original wrap Empire of the Petal Throne for $86 plus shipping with a partially crushed box, and then you get it. You take a picture with your cell phone, and then you unwrap it like it's Christmas, and you dig into the box.
You madman! Well. So here's some of the prices. I mentioned it. Here's Jeff got 14,000 for wood grain. Lost to Mohican, which later on became the module C1 Hidden Tribe to Mohican. The tournament version, he got 10 grand for that. 4 grand for Dwarven Glory, one of the original ones by We Warriors. I thought this is interesting. He sold an Eye of the Dragon, which was a module that Weiss and Hickman put out a few years ago, it was basically stuck in a drawer for the last 30 years. It was going to be something they published on their own, and they ended up getting hired by TSR, so they never published it. They had I guess you call it a private printing of like I think 50 of them, and they sold them for like $500. And Doug bought one. And I'm thinking at the time, $500, dude, that's a lot to pay for this. Well, they sold one for $2,700 to $2,700. So yeah, $2,000 chainmail
over 5 times. Yeah, that's a good investment.
A white box of 5th edition white box, which I have a printing of that, sold for $861. Anyway, it was very. I think it was really cool to see that the prices have gone up so much in the last few years because it means the hobby's healthy. It's a healthy hobby, and there's a lot of people interested in it. And look, there's a big joke among collector circles that the same people basically trade the same items in the same circle of people. It's kind of like a game of telephone, except you're just handing the box to this guy and he hands it to that guy, and then eventually Bill Meinhardt ends up with everything. But you're passing it around, and so it's kind of cool because I think a lot of people that were in there, I didn't recognize them. And I think a lot of people that were just getting into the hobbies the last few years bought some of that stuff, which is good because you want to see the collector hobby. I mean, you want to see it thrive. You want to see the hobby thrive as a whole, but the collector part thriving is great because it means people are interested in the, not just for monetary reasons, they're interested in because, for historical reasons. They want to they want to own a white box or a wood grain box or a tournament module from the 70s.
So, Mike, you're saying that the PDFs of the originals aren't bringing the prices down of the print originals?
Well, yeah, that's a long, and I have to admit, I am very proud of myself, pat on the back for being on the right side of history there, because I remember almost 20 years ago having a very heated argument, not 20, probably 15 years ago, having a heated argument with a guy who insisted that because there was now a PDF of the white box, he was never going to get back his $150 he spent on a white box. because that PDF was just going to drive the price down as I look at the $900 one just sold for the other day. So no, the PDFs, it's like anything else. I mean, you can buy a reprint of Spider-Man #1, which is great, but you know what? It has no effect on the fact that a Spider-Man #1's worth like $50,000 now. It has zero effect. So yes, PDFs have not cut into the price, and I was definitely on the right side of history of that, because I always said that people are going to want to own the originals. I mean, it's great that people can own reprints and can actually get a PDF, because look, we don't all have $800 to drop on a white box, but so it's nice that you can actually get the PDFs, and you know, and heck, nowadays through Drive-Thru RPG, you can actually get reprints of some of the modules. I actually had some reprints over here. If I get a chance, I might drag some out, but they don't look exactly like the originals because they don't have detachable covers like the old modules did. They're all you know, in one booklet. But it's great if you just wanted to run. Let's say you wanted to run a B1 and you wanted to run it out of the book. You could get one off Drive-Thru RPG for about, I think they're about $10, $15. But they're not affecting the price.
They're not affecting the collector's price at all. I mean,
not at all.
Back in the day when you go on eBay and get an OCE, you know, the original collector's edition, for like $89 in shipping.
Yep.
Those days are long.
I knew a guy that had 15 of them, and because they were cheap, because he was like, you know, if I can get them for $89, I buy them. He had 15 of them, and sadly, as most of the stories go in our hobby, he got a divorce and had to sell his 15 white boxes years ago. But yeah, I can only imagine what that'd be worth now. But no, you could actually afford that stuff was pretty affordable even 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's why I was grabbing this stuff, you know. My most expensive purchases were Tunnels and Trolls, getting stuff that I Ken from Ken San Andreas' personal collection that he was signing. That was that's when you went, oh my God, I just spent $175 for Ken's, you know, second edition personal play copy of TNT with no back cover. It looks like shit, but how many were there in the first place?
I remember
first edition.
2008 or 9. I can't remember my first Gen Con or my second one. It was 2008 or 9. I remember going to the midnight auction. So the midnight auction at Gen Con is where all the really expensive. Well, it's not actually a midnight auction. It's more like a late night auction. It just usually goes after midnight because everything runs late at Gen Con. So the years I was there, we'd go. And I remember you'd always have buyer's regret because, you know, it's late at night, you got money, you're tired, and you end up spending more money than you think. And then you get back to your hotel room and you're like, oh my God, I just spent $800. And you just think, oh, that's just ridiculous. And, you know, because but you had some really good stuff, you think. And it's just, I'm just glad to see that I don't feel as bad about my purchases back then because, I've got a white box signed by Gary Gygax, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
So I'm glad I bought it now. At the time, I think it was like $400, and I was thinking, oh my God, that's way more than a white box is worth. But it has Gary Gygax's signature on it. It's pretty cool, you know. And so I bought it, and so I'm not that. I don't feel that bad about spending the money, you know. You know, so my wife didn't have gas for a car for a few weeks. I mean,
right? Yeah, it's
not my problem.
You're still married, so obviously there was some success in it.
Just barely.
Well, she puts up with you. I mean, beyond that, whole thing with no gas, that's a minor problem, really.
I told my wife, I said, because I told her that Jeff was auctioning stuff, and I said, I can't tell you the final prices because I won't have anything left in my closet. I tell you, you're going to make me put it all for sale. Because so they're like, oh, he'll get a pretty good amount. I didn't think he'd get over $50,000, but he got so much. Matter of fact, I talked to. He said that PayPal shut his account down. He had so many deposits in one day that I guess they think you're a drug dealer. If somebody starts dropping money in your account, so he had to call him up. But yeah, few of us have that kind of collection where we can get that much. But I think it's good for the hobby, and I think it's good. I think it's just the whole thing we talk about. Eric and I talk about all the time about how you know it's the Starbucks effect with 5th edition. 5th edition has made everything better. You know, as much as we don't play it, and you know I'm not interested in playing it, but I sure do want to see it do well because it makes everything in the hobby better.
So I'm going to do a little bit of a throwback here, but as we're having this whole discussion, we're talking about conventions and stuff. I realize now that I've run games at conventions every convention I go to, I run at least 1 or 2 sessions. But the last session I played in at a convention was Mike running Victorious.
Really?
Yes.
That's a long time ago.
That's it. I don't sign up for games. I take the games that I run 1 or 2 sessions of Swords and Wizardry Light. I work the Frog God table and I eat and drink. I socialize. But yeah, I'm realizing now, I'm like sitting here going, God damn it, Mike's was the last. I mean, I had a blast. I mean, it was because
even though it was set in New York, and I've never lived in New York, and you're from New York.
Yeah, but you see,
I'm like, oh crap.
But here's the deal, Mike.
It's hard to fake. Yeah.
You're a history professor. You are a history major. You have an appreciation not just for history, but for localities. And it showed with the work that you did and the research that you did in the setting material.
Oh, you're too kind.
No, I was going, so is it that Mike's session was so great it ruined me for any other further gaming with people? Probably.
Let's say it was.
It's either that or it was so terrible you can't bring yourself to game ever again.
No. Actually, I had a great time. Who was the guy that was? I'm going to say cross-dressing. Who was the guy that came in a full costume?
Corbett.
Corbett.
All right, Corbett.
Ian Corbett.
Yeah, why am I saying he was cross-dressing? Like, no, that's not the right word.
Not that time.
Yeah. Well. What he does in the privacy of his own home or adult clubs is up to him. Jesus.
Which scenario was that? That was in New York, so that wasn't the Chicago World's Fair scenario. Did you?
No. This was the one where they were kidnapping Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, right. Okay, I remember that one. Yes.
Yeah, when he was commissioner of police in New York.
And they failed too, didn't they? Did they fail? I can't remember.
Well, they got him, but everyone rescued him in fairly short order.
Okay.
Listen, it's a
They didn't get Teddy killed, which would have been very unfortunate.
Would have changed the future.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we were doing anyway. But it was fun for me too because I hadn't played with the Siege engine or game that was using the Castles and Crusades rules since I played Castles and Crusades on Fantasy Grounds upon my return to gaming back when Rach and I were recording. So this poor young woman had to deal with me going, listen, do you mind if I get you home early because it's Saturday night and I got a game at 8 o'clock and I got to drive you back to the Bronx.
Oh, man.
Because dating is dating, but yeah. So.
Do you mind? And of course, and I think I'm afraid to say, I think I was still on dial-up because we didn't have there was no TeamSpeak going or Skype, because again, dating myself. I think because it was all text, and I was like, but I gotta play it's Castles and Crusades. I'm playing a dwarf. What a fucking surprise, by the way. I'm
shocked that now I'm shocked you got married, but yeah, that's. I just want to ask you a question. Am I going to get lucky tonight? Because I'm not. I got a game going on.
Yeah.
Just let me know how this is going to work out.
Can I just make my roll now and see if I succeed? Give him a check, maybe.
I'd ask you to stay the night and wait till the game is over, but you got your dog at the house that has to get walked, so I really should get you home in time.
You drop your ass off right now.
Oh, God.
Because I'm so responsible.
That's pretty funny.
She still married me. Oh my God.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, she had very little prospects. I'm getting the impression because that's. She should have looked a little harder. Ray, she should have looked a little harder, babe. Come on. How'd your day go last night? It was okay, but then he had to play a dwarf in a game, and then he had to be like, "Oh, honey, he's not into you at all."
But Eric was very concerned about the health of her dog, so
I get back and we got to make sure. So yeah, I'm not going to come out of this looking very good. I understand that. I
just see her friends going, "Honey, he's just not for you. He's just not going to work."
He played a dwarf, or he's playing with a dwarf. What do you?
It's a bit unclear. I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure I want to ask too many questions because.
Bounce, chicka, bounce, bounce, bounce.
Oh my
I
God.
suppose we warned you. This was a hex crawl. I just stepped in some quicksand on my own free will. Let me
Yeah,
cast.
that was all you. That was none of us. We didn't do that. That was all you. It was all Eric, folks. We just sat back and
Crash around and think
keep
a little
going.
bit.
Keep going.
Put
Yes.
my hand out for a little saving, and I can't tell the difference between good Mike and bad Mike because they're both like.
Oh, believe
Bad
me,
Mike's going, he
good
fell in
Mike
there,
will-
let him
oh,
drown. And
good
good
Mike
Mike's going,
will lead you down the path.
he
Dude.
fell in there, let him drown.
He's just a little more sophisticated than Bad Mike, but yes, he will watch you get in the quicksand and smile as it climbs past your neck up to your head. So yes.
Hey, I owe all my ability to blog and podcast and create. That's all because I have an amazing wife and best friend supporting me. So, man, she's not even sitting behind me.
Yeah, about to say you got no
I
credit.
wasted that. I'm gonna have
No
to sit
credit.
in.
Well, if you recorded it, I mean, it's all,
Yeah, I'll say,
you know.
but
Listen to this part, honey. Look, I talk about you on the podcast. I swear. Look.
Yeah, listen. Right. Pause. Why don't you pause it? You want to hear the rest of this story?
Oh, this is just some boring stuff about us dating. You don't want to hear.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's like, oh, that's when I looked back and so you weren't there and realized I just said that for nothing. That's the wine and Tenkar is tanked. I'll have you know, Joe, this is a large glass of wine, so probably 2 servings. But,
Sort of a big gulp of wine.
yeah, but not a super big gulp because that would be me taking out this glass, and I didn't take out the big red glass.
Oh, hey.
I used to do my beer in this. It holds 2.
Yeah, I like the drinky poo Tenkar coming back because it was teetotaler Tenkar for a while, and that guy is he's a pill. But no, this guy I like the drinky Eric's awesome.
Well, I got to start chilling some more of my hopped tea, which is non-alcoholic, but vaguely tastes like a decent hoppy beer. So
Now I just thought of something. Speaking of nothing, I don't know why I'm trying to relate this, but anyway, but you do the podcast with Rach, right? The Gamers Health podcast. Well, I'm moved to mention that that Liz has been on quite the healthy run lately because I read all her Facebook posts, and I think she has roped Mike into joining her. You want to tell us a little bit about your eating habits the last year and how they changed? Liz?
Basically, we're doing low carb eating.
Okay, I can relate to that.
We've been eating that way for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
And I've lost a little over 20 pounds, and I'm pretty happy with where I am right now. I've been kind of, on a level where I'm just maintaining where I am rather than continuing to try to lose a lot. So.
Does Mike join you in this endeavor also?
Oh, yeah. I've dropped about between 35 and 40, depending on the day.
Jeez Louise,
it was so annoying, too, because at first he was just sort of partially doing low carb, and he was still losing more weight than I was, going full low carb.
Yeah, I'd never go full low carb. I did that for an afternoon once. It was a worst afternoon ever. No, that's I don't know.
I've done a lot of oh my God. When you have congestive heart failure, you realize, wow, and your A1C is 9.5. You realize you have to do things that are, healthier than your prior lifestyle. And I've managed to bring my A1C down to, I think, like 5.7 now. So holy crap! And I've lost some weight doing it, but I've had to pretty much cook out of the course of 3 days where we have 9 meals, and I'm probably making 7 or 8 of those meals from scratch because then I know what I'm putting into the food. I know what my carb count is. I know what's got carbs and what doesn't, and I can watch my sodium. and it's a lot easier doing it with somebody. The fact that Mike is you two are doing it together is great. If I was doing this by myself and I saw Rach noshing down on Doritos or some other shit, it would not be. You'd be like, yeah, maybe I can have a few. No, instead I like, oh look, I found Pitos, which taste remarkably much like Cheetos, but they're made from pea. But a little bag, like a serving bag, costs you the same as like a, 7 servings of Cheetos. Oh, 1 serving of Cheetos. I was like, I can make this last all freaking night if I break it into 3 pieces for each one. But healthy eating is not necessarily inexpensive, but you can find a lot of ways to make it less expensive. And I'll try anything that's low carb once. There is certain stuff that I've tried and I've gone, alrighty then, this cereal sucks. It was low carb because I'm eating like sawdust that somebody put together with like horse glue. And
I've pretty much just decided, I'm not even going to try to do cereal and stuff because most of that prepackaged kind of thing and low carb tends to not taste that great. But I've got a little waffle maker and I make chaffles, and it's
okay.
Yeah, it's an egg and some shredded mozzarella cheese and maybe a tablespoon or 2 of coconut flour and stuff mixed in there, and you put it in the waffle iron, and it makes something that is remarkably like a for-real waffle. And they're also great to use as like little sandwich buns too. You make the chaffles and you in place of your bread to do a sandwich or a hamburger or whatever, and it is not bad at all.
Well, I don't think I could have lasted without Liz doing all these low carb recipes.
Hack. So I watch highfalutin low carb on YouTube. My southerner, who has he experiments with all these different low carb recipes and gives you honest answers for the ones that he's like, this one sucks. Like, all right. Thank you. But I've tried low carb bread, and the only bread that's low carb, and I guess it's really low net carbs. So when I say things are low carbs, a lot of times it's your net carbs. Kiss My Keto makes, and I buy 4 loaves at a time because the bundle is cheaper, and I freeze them, and have a slice of bread or 2 like as toast with the morning omelet, which is 1 egg and egg whites from the egg beaters, sausage, little sausage, little peppers and onion. You just gotta and salsa. Salsa is like I can get my salsa is like low carb and it has flavor. It's like awesome, but it's you really have to experiment to find stuff that will satisfy without putting you without breaking your wallet. Number one, and keep you from that desire to binge.
Another side effect that because there's so few places you can go to eat low carb in a restaurant. Even before COVID, we had hardly go out and eat at restaurants anymore. I mean, generally, whenever Bad Mike would come up, we would go out with him, but.
Right. And I'd feel bad because I wouldn't remember that, and we'd be in a restaurant like, okay, we're gonna oh crap, what can y'all eat here? I'm looking like everything looks bad for you. It's delicious.
Remember when we all went to J&J's Pizza on the square, and we got the pizzas, and I just peeled off the cheese and meat and ate that, and
we felt so terrible, but because that's delicious pizza too. We felt like, oh man,
the toppings were awesome.
They were good. Yeah.
I was there was no problem with that.
Well, my wife every January does vegan for a month. It's kind of a year beginning cleanse, and the last couple of years I've been taxed with the job of finding the restaurants and or the food, and so this year I finally talked her to just going vegetarian and not vegan, because vegan is tough, man, because no dairy products and eggs get you because it's shocking how many products contain that. And so I begged her last year. I said, can we just do vegetarian next year? I mean, we'll do no meat, but really this vegan stuff is tough. And it is, it's really tough. There's one vegan restaurant we found which does passable stuff like pizza. That they make things taste like other things pretty well. And we found an Indian restaurant that was pretty vegan. But the problem with Indian food is most of the sauces are cream-based sauces. So once you can't have cream, then you're screwed. So this year I'm looking much more forward to it because of vegetarian. There's a lot more vegetarian options out there than there are vegan. For one, we can have dairy products, which will expand the palate immensely right there. But I usually join her too because I can do anything for a while. I probably can't do it forever, but I can do it for a while. And I was able to do vegan pretty faithfully for a month. But by the last week, I'm like, okay, let's bring on the steak, man. I can't take this any longer. But this year will be a lot better. I could eat vegetarian. I love vegetables and I love.
Try going vegetarian once removed. Only eat meat from animals that eat plants.
Okay.
I find that a lot easier to do generally.
I could do pescatarian. I have a relative that's a pescatarian. She only eats fish, and I could do that with no problem at all. That wouldn't be an issue at all. She eats seafood, so that's all she ever eats. The only meat product.
Wouldn't break Liz's heart, especially like crabs and lobster.
Crabs, shrimp, lobster, fish.
Oh God, sea insects. No, thank you, man. That's
you get out of here.
No, me and Rach. Listen, she's all into the sea insects and the.
I can eat shrimp every day. Yeah. That's one of the foods I could eat every day of my life, shrimp, and it wouldn't bother me.
All right. Okay.
No problem.
God bless you. Go with God.
What? I'm going to die?
It is awesome.
Go forth and sin no more. Anyway.
Yeah. Go ahead and cleanse. You know what? You have that. I'll have my with the surf and turf, you can have the surf. I'll take the turf. Okay.
All right. I'll take the gumbo. You can have whatever else.
Who gets the pedos?
I get the goddamn pedos, man.
So story with the vegan is looking for vegan stuff. I found some vegan noodles in the store because they make them out of, I don't know, chickpeas or something. And I was all excited about that until the first time I cooked it up and tried to make it taste palatable, and then gave up on that one pretty quick because they just everything was wrong. The texture was wrong. The taste was wrong. It was just, this isn't going to happen.
Suspend your disbelief, Mike. Suspend your disbelief.
No, that's great. I'm glad all three of you are. I need to tighten up my menu quite a bit because you figure with all the. Because look, people go to conventions and you eat badly at conventions most of the time because the easiest option.
You eat well. You just don't
eat well, but I'm just saying you're not eating the best foods all the time.
No.
It's easy to grab something, and like Gary Cons, especially because at Gary Con you're pretty much stuck at the lodge. So there's not anywhere else you can go. There's only 3 restaurants there. And they're really actually quite expensive. Now, there's a lot more options when we went to Game Hole because you have, it's at the convention center, so there's a lot more areas around there you can explore. But it's not the easiest thing to eat well at a convention or to eat healthfully at a healthy
food and a convention does generally not go together. Actually, I'll say the healthiest food I've been able to find is at North Texas. Because I can have an omelet made and put in my omelet what I want. I could do a low carb omelet, not going to be an issue. I don't know about lunch. That might. I'd have to remember. I don't remember the menu too much.
They had a salad. They had a really good salad there. I had the salad quite a bit. Now last year the restaurant was closed.
Chicken, didn't they?
Yep, they had the grilled chicken. They had the salad, but we had food trucks last year, which kind of limited the options quite a bit. So that wasn't the greatest thing last year, but. It was what it was last year. So,
wow. Well, as is usual for Mike and I, this stuff, the time flies like we don't even realize it. Mike and Liz, what projects are you guys working on now? Got to be something.
Well, we just put out the latest issue of Save or Half, where we covered Cosmic Encounter, the board game, a day or two ago.
Damn, that's one I never owned it. I haven't seen it in like 20 plus years.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Jim chose that one, and it's interesting. I never actually played Cosmic Encounter. I played the Avalon Hill Dune game, which borrowed heavily from it, but
Okay.
I never actually played Cosmic Encounters.
Yeah,
Did you play the new one or the old one, or did it matter? The same rule sets? Because I know they reprinted it recently.
I bought a copy of the first edition off my game dealer, Alex. He who sells from his trunk, in the parking lot.
Yeah. He came to our convention once and made out like a bandit. I know that guy.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, come on the parking lot. Check out my trunk here. I got all kinds of games in here.
That game box is heavy. Don't worry. It's not bricks. It's not wood. It's actually,
Well, no, you can't open it. It's sealed. It's shrink wrapped. You can't open it.
Yeah.
Ruin the value. Yeah.
I didn't restaple that box at all.
Oh.
Sure, it's a VCR.
So what? Do you have any more victorious offerings on the horizon? Have you got anything?
Yeah. Alla Fedorova. If I got that last name right.
Alla, yep. Good old Alla.
Yeah, she's doing the maps for the Evil in the White City. The Devil's Castle.
Talking about for a while. Oh yeah.
And the fake homes and the various other things. Trollord is sending those out as individual adventure PDFs, and then when they're all done, we're going to combine them into the full book, Evil in the White City, all about the fair there. And we've got one out. Is it both? Are two out or just one right now? The articulator.
Only part 1 is out, and part 2, I've got it pretty much laid out, but we're waiting for maps now to stick into that, and maybe a little bit of extra artwork. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get at least part 2 out near the, first half of 2021. And I'd love to also, push ahead with part 3 as well, because it's all written. We just have to get the maps and the extras to be able
all
to
this other stuff. Yeah. Liz and I also collaborated on an article in Scientific Barbarian #1, Sci-Bar, for those of us who are cool, which came out about a month ago, right?
Yeah, a couple of months ago. And it hasn't happened yet, but we're going to hopefully have a follow-up article in Sci-Bar issue #3. So.
And that's the Kickstarter project by
Jim Wampler.
By Jim, yeah, that's Jim.
Yeah.
That sounds like a little nepotism to me. You appearing in Jim's magazine like that.
Oh, well, he offered to pay me, so I thought, okay, sure,
Come on, there's none of that in this hobby.
If anyone would like to have Mike do stuff for them, just offer to pay him. And he would be very happy to write an article or do something for you too.
Well, I was going to have him on my yard. I didn't know. Okay, so
write supplements for food.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but I'm low carb, remember.
Low carb, unless Liz is in the case, you might sneak a little bit in. You might actually eat the crust that you slide to the side. I probably would be the bad guy going, I can't let that crust go to waste. It's got good tomato sauce on it. I can smell the Italian. How much could it spike my blood sugar? Come on. I'll just take an extra metformin and I get home. It'll all balance out.
You tell us to show our target audience over 50.
Yes.
As we talk about
oh, my
issues and diet. Oh, my corns. Oh.
Yeah, when I buy a new car, I got to make sure it has those heated seats. Isn't that? Oh, yeah, because it's cold weather. Go, no, my lower back. I just turn it on in the summertime, put the AC all the way up, and
just sciatic acting up. Yes, it's awful.
Hey.
The latest AARP newsletter. Man,
that article about vacation spots in the South was right on.
It's remember I'm 53, so yes, I got that when I was like 50. And then it's like I go, Rach, here's your card. She goes, but I'm not 50 yet. I'm like, yeah, but you're married to somebody who is.
There you go.
You are now a member of my marriage. She goes, that sucks.
You're an honorary retiree. Yeah.
There you go. She's like, she likes the idea of retiring. It's that having to be like, I don't want to be 50. I'm like, none of us want. I'm glad I hit 50 and beyond. I'll hit 70. I'll be very happy. But the actual, 50.
One thing you forget to do is everybody gives discounts. You forget to ask for them because you don't think you're old. Because I'm not going to say my wife's age, but let's just say she's in line for quite a few discounts now, and she won't ask because she's embarrassed. I'm like, come on, man, fly your freak flag. Tell them.
That might have no shame.
Damn it, I want my free drink. Give me my 10% off. I'm old. Let's do it.
I wasn't retired yet, so I was like, I don't know, 48, and I go to Friendly's with my niece. So this is 5 years ago, and we're just two of us. I took her out to eat. And I was near retirement. I was like, let the hair grow in, let the beard start growing in. So when I'm retired, I have it. And the waitress, we're finishing up. The waitress gives me a check. There's a 15% discount. And I'm like looking at it. I go, holy! And I realize my niece with me. I go, holy fra! She's like, what is it? I go. Apparently they think I'm old. She, well, you are old.
Oh,
no, I'm not that old. She goes, well, what do you mean? I go, they think I'm like 60, and they gave me money off. She goes, so you're good. She goes, you're good. Just take it. I'm like, all right.
I was thinking, what a racket this is. When you get old, you get discounts. That's awesome.
Yeah. And we had one guy at our local Taco Bell. I guess we thought Rach and I were an older couple because Rach is so blonde that it's like white. And it's just like, Rach, we just got a discount here at Taco Bell. We got to find him again. It's like, oh, you don't know.
You could get discounts at Taco Bell.
I didn't know it either, but I got 15% off senior discount.
This is like, can I let my hair go gray now?
Yeah.
Taco Bell discount. Come on.
I know.
Six tacos instead of 4? Yeah.
I'll color some streaks into my hair. I could put a gray streak in. I'll look like that X-Men character from the comic books. Well, which one was that? The one that could steal powers.
Rogue. You're doing the Rogue. You don't look like Rogue, Eric. You don't look like Rogue. No.
No, Liz could. I couldn't. I don't.
Oh,
know.
you? No, I thought you said you. Okay, yeah.
No.
No, not you.
If I painted gray, and all they'd say is, "Why are you painting the rest of your hair not gray? You missed the rest of your head." I'd be like, "Yeah, all right."
Hey, the movie discounts are great though, because I keep waiting for somebody to challenge me for my movie discount. So far, I have not been challenged. So I come to the conclusion that I could have been asking for movie discounts like 10 years ago and probably wouldn't have
seen it. There you
go. So, but yes,
wow,
we do enjoy those. The movie discounts.
My only damn I'm old story is cleaning up my spam folder and suddenly realizing I'm getting lots of emails from silver singles.
Oh yeah! Oh,
whoa! Is that a thing? Hold on, I gotta look this up.
There's silver singles. I've gotten that too in my spam.
Okay, how come I'm not on their mailing list? Come on, man! I want some silver singles here.
Because you're bad, Mike.
We're not
a fresh take on 50+ dating. Yeah. I don't think I don't date that much anymore, so it's not gonna work.
Yeah, your wife tends to frown on it.
She doesn't, for some reason. That's not. Yeah, she doesn't appreciate me dating. So, that's
even her. Like, honey, date night. Nah, I'd rather stay home. Okay.
Well, yeah, silver singles is a thing. Wow. Okay.
We've expanded your world, but not in a good way, Mike.
This isn't
Bad Mike. If you dated someone, you'd have to take them home early because it's a Saturday night.
Yes, that wasn't. Well, you know what? That was kind of old dating. I was in my 40s.
If I ever date again, I'm dating somebody like 40 years younger than me anyway. So just so I can say that. Yeah, I went out with a date with an 18-year-old the other day, just so I could.
Yeah, I dated a girl
I
half my
hate
age
her.
once,
No.
and she wound up being a psycho. So I figured let
All
me
right,
go
no.
older and less insane. It's like I think the hint was, hey, who's that naked person in your backyard? Oh, that's my sister. She's sunbathing in your backyard in Long Island? Yeah, she does it all the time. And what do the neighbors think? They love it. I'm like,
Yeah, they
all
love
right.
it.
But it's 2 in the morning.
No, it was like
Sounds
2
like
in the afternoon. I was like, what the?
It's like
Okay,
That's like a routine here, a comedian routine.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god. Okay, well, I think we've
All around.
we've gone off the
Merry
map.
Christmas, everyone! Listen to this story about naked chicks and
Yeah,
eating it all. So
but not even good stories about naked chicks.
No.
Just
nothing good.
no. But yeah, we've taken this hex crawl. We've gone off the basic plot line that we might have had. We've gone deep into the woods. Greg, Christopher, if you're watching this live, I know you're working on your new OSR RPG. You got to put in hex crawls like this.
Mhm.
With silver
Walking-
singles.
Yeah, walking crit the silver singles, okay? Because Mike and Liz, thank you, because you really you recharged my convention battery tonight. Because it
Well,
really,
thank you for inviting us.
yeah, no, because we didn't. My last convention, I happened to get con crud, which then led to my whole wonderful 2020, you know. But I go to places like North Texas, like coming home to your family, you know. Texas. If Rach and I had to move, and it wasn't to the Poconos, where I feel like I have a second home up there, it would be to Texas, because it feels like home. And maybe it's the Texas attitude.
There's enough damn New Yorkers here now. You'd fit right in.
There you go.
they won't stop coming. Those are Californians, man. Good Lord.
Listen, at least in New York, because we got a little bit of the attitude, and we fucking curse. The Californians are just gonna try to, like, you know, make you all conform to them. New Yorkers just don't care. You know, we got some of us got the attitude. I apologize for the rest of us. Can't stop them. But seriously, this is good times, because this is, again, what I go to conventions for. This would be us hanging out at the bar, except for the fact that Rachel would be stealing my beer and demanding more pretzels and cheese or some crap like that. That's what she misses about the old hotel, Mike, by the way, just so you know. She misses the pretzels with the beer cheese dip. Make your request, man, at the new hotel. That's what, you know. I'm sure Rachel will, like, pay ahead of time. So
We just hope that the bar's open again this year. Hoping the bar
well,
will be open.
Yeah. Listen, I hope Rich and I are COVID immunized, and they can get, like, my little boy in a plastic ball get up.
I think I have a feeling we're going to be okay this year. I just have this good feeling about 2021. He said before the plague hit again. No, before the meteor hit. But no, I think I have a good feeling. I think I have a feeling all four of us will be in the same room.
I'm looking forward to it.
And it will not be a jail cell. It will not be a jail cell. Actually, it'll be at a convention.
You know what? It could be at a jail cell after the convention.
Or during. I mean, I don't know. You know, things
or it
things
could be a Denny's. It could be a Denny's at the convention late at night, which is dangerous in and of itself. Holy shit. Again, thank you.
Yeah,
folks,
thank you so much for putting a bow on this end of the before Christmas show. And it wasn't just because you're the only two people I knew that were still in town. I swear it wasn't.
And not doing anything.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Next week, Bad Mike and I are going to hopefully do the. I'm going to go through my Dungeon Meister fantasy D&D.
I got my cheap booze all lined up, and it's bad cheap booze too. It's gonna
I got a book to. I was sent a book to review, so we're going to try to find some boozy recipes that we can try. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. Mike, you're going to have to kill 2 minutes. Liz, I need you to roll percentiles. I need two rolls. I got to give away some money.
Oh, we got to give away some goodies. We forgot all
Yeah.
about that.
We had
Sorry,
so much time.
guys.
We forgot to give away stuff.
We got to give away.
Dice bag right here. So
Of course she does. Of course.
Let me get that.
That's why she's the sweetheart of the OSR, guys. She's got
Actually, you know what?
right there.
Yeah, actually, make it a D20 because it only goes back so far, and I need to say sane.
Okay.
And what are our prizes this week, Eric? Our prizes are 50.
I got two $50 gift certificates to give away. And Joe, you commented a lot, but you're not eligible because I'm going to be doing a string with you on Friday. You're not eligible, Joe. So
yeah, it's nepotism. Get out of here.
Yeah,
Joe.
nepotism. We've already had nepotism.
So am I rolling a D20 or am I rolling percentile?
No, roll D20. That way I keep saying, and then I'll count from that one.
Okay. 5.
All right. So, and if I count Joe, I just go to the next person. I count to Joe. Count to Joe. Z-Wiki.
Oh, Z-Wiki.
Z-Wiki, if you are still here, I need an email at tenkarstavern.com. Tankars.tavern@gmail.com. There we go. I'm doing a Glenn. Shit. And email me, and I will get you that certificate. All right, another D20. I'm going to count from Z-Wiki.
Lucky number 13.
Oh.
Dandelion Games.
Dandelion
Games. I need an email. And
we have one more. This is going to be for a Frog Guy Games prize package, which I sent last week's out. They might already have it, but well, probably not Christmas week. I bet they haven't got it yet. But I sent out. This will either be a Swords of Wizard or 5e package. You just let me know which one you would prefer, and you will contact me through either the Discord's probably the best way to contact me. If not, Mike@frogeygames.com. So
yeah, in this case, I'm going to count from the tail end.
Okay.
So,
what dice you want Liz to roll then?
D20.
Day 20. Okay.
16.
As Eric studiously counts.
And again, I gotta skip Joe, and I gotta skip Z-Wiki.
And you got
Sean Pointer.
Oh, Mr. Pointer. He might already own all the stuff. Sean, get a hold of me and let me know. If you're not on, I'll let. I know Sean is. Sean comes to our con every year. Good dude. So yes, Mr. Pointer. He might already have everything. I'll have to dig deep in the prize closet for him.
All right.
Sean, contact me either through Discord or Mike@frogguy.games.com, and I will get you your Frog Guy Games gift package.
There we go. If you're watching, you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We do appreciate it. Again, Liz, thanks for those dice rolls, because if I did it, it would be bad. We need honesty to the process. But in any case, folks, as always, we're in the midst of a pandemic. Neither Mike nor I nor Mike nor Liz. So yes, 2 mics are better than 1. We're not medical professionals.
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, and allegedly Mike is not a medical professional, but possibly an actual professor. Why is it we have so many professors in this field? Probably. We won't spoil that secret, but in any case,
I'm a MD. I'm a doctor. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm a doctor of love, baby.
Master of destruction. There you go.
Dr. Love.
Dr. Love. That's not a medical doctor. That's whatever doctor. Oh, jeez.
We're not Dr. Love is right for you.
Dr. Love says use your common sense, whether it's in love or COVID.
We only got a few more months of this, guys. Wear your masks. Be careful. We want everybody okay for con season coming up. So just tough it out a couple more weeks. We should be all right.
Save for Half and Crusader are the podcasts to find. I'm guessing any podcast catcher should have them.
They all do, yeah.
Yeah. So
Saferhalf.info. I mean, saferhalf.com. Is it crusader.info?
Hang on a second. Let me check that out. Crusaderpodcast.com.
.com. Okay.
All right. Well, again, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. From all of us, we really do appreciate it. Mike and I will be back next week with Drinking from Hell. If you think I was
Have
bad,
a Merry Christmas, friends.
Oh yeah, and Joe and I will be on Christmas night.
Oh yeah, are you starting your new podcast?
Yes, Christmas night.
Yeah, nice.
I don't have people time yet. We'll have to figure that out when I've got an idea of.
I won't be doing anything. I'll be there. I got nothing going on. I got no presents to wrap.
Oh, I rave trapped all my presents, and the ones that were going to her, I just went, "Hey, look what just came in the mail. Do you want to wait till Christmas or do you want it now? I'll take it now. There, I don't have to wrap it. Here, you can rip the button. There you go, folks. As always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, and I will talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.
Later.
Bye bye.
We are.
Oh, we didn't.